Hello everyone, it's me, Jamie again. What I've decided to do is well, the splicing tutorial is nice and all, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who decided I don't want to sit through 40 minutes of that, so I've decided to try and condense that whole tutorial into one 10-minute segment. So that's what I'm about to do in a moment. So I'm just going to run the video real fast in the background as I overlay my voice and tell you exactly what's going on and what to do. So let's get right into it. Okay, so starting off, you of course need your images. So I started off by just taking everyone to Spreader's resource. Here's the link on the bottom of the screen for any of you who need me to explain. The site's pretty self-explanatory, just search around and you'll be able to find the Pokemon sprites pretty easy. We then paste it into Paint, where we're going to want to get rid of that black background. So now that we've done that, I go and grab Flaffy, Celio, and then finally Togetic as the chosen sprites I was going to use. So now we're going to actually get into the core basis of spriting, and I'm going to put the pieces together. Okay, here I'm messing with the zoom, but okay. So now we're going to get into it. I'm basically explaining at this point what a base is. You have to choose a sprite good for the bottom piece, what the main shape of your thing's going to take up. Here I am demoing the difference between a base. Two same splices, but completely different because I used different bases for them. So I decided on Togetic. At this point I should probably explain a little bit of a thing I probably did at this point. Yeah, you can sort of see it. There's a big white non-transparent thing going on. Let me quick go into Paint to show you that.
Okay, so now let's go into my little demo Paint here, and as you can see, if I take the select tool, go over our little friend Lickitung, and drag him over, we're gonna see an issue. There's a giant white bordering thing around Lickitung, and I can't see through that. If you want to see through it, the tool is right here. While you have the select tool selected, there are two different options. What we want to do is basically select the second option. It should highlight to blue. Once it's highlighted to blue, or the bottom one is highlighted to blue, you should be set to basically take Lickitung. Voila! You can see through all the white. The color you can see through is the secondary color I explained before, right down here. As you can see, white is our secondary, so when we're doing transparency, the secondary color is the one you can see through. The one down here in the bottom corner. If I haven't explained that or you don't know, to select the secondary colors, right-click one of these boxes. So you wanted to make brown your see-through color, select brown. If it's a color specific to your sprite, use the little dropper tool. And let's say I want the tongue transparent, select the tongue color as your secondary, right-click for secondary, and then you just drag it over, and now you can see through his tongue. Okay, that's all I had to explain there. Back to the tutorial.
Okay, so now that I've explained the basics of transparency, we're actually going to start with actually putting the stuff on. Right here, I believe I'm explaining how to take the pieces off. To take the pieces off, you want to copy the pieces. You don't want to just click and drag them off. You copy them, so if you mess something up, you can always go back to the older sprite and use them. So now I'm just doing some basic placement stuff. Since the whiskers are coming off of the right cheek, we can't quite see the right cheek, so we put Togetic over the whisker, while on the other side we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to put the whisker over Togetic. Also, I'm showing the fact that we have a few transparency issues, since the whiskers are white, and white is our see-through color. So I just do a basic fill it in, put it over so it's not transparent, then turn it back to white, so voila, we got that good. We're going to a different piece now, we're putting on Flaffy's tail. Pretty self-explanatory, just making sure it looks right wherever I'm putting it. Obviously I'm not exactly sure of how well it's going to work, and then I go, oh, you want to know what? I'm going to remove a piece. It's something I learned from another spriter, actually. It's real cool. You remove a piece so there's less Togetic, it makes it blend better. If there was too much Togetic, it gets cluttered and, well, it seems kind of unfair. Adding another piece from Flaffy, This time I'm going to have to do something a little different. This is at the point where I show that you can put a copy of your splice that you're working on over to the side in case you're about to do something big changing to it, or if you're just paranoid. Basically, if I were to screw up as I did, I can just go and grab an older form of it so I don't have to completely redo everything. Trying to figure out how to put Flaffy's horn on. I decided perhaps there would be the best choice. I'm still not completely sure. I'm changing the size. This is a bit of scratching, something I can't quite teach very well. Basically, making everything pixel by pixel to your own liking. Here I did the flip rotate. Flip rotate is real good for getting things onto the other side. You have to be real careful when you flip rotate, just because if you do that the wrong way, you're going to end up with basically a sprite that looks bad because you might have messed up the shading or the angle doesn't look right. So if you're going to flip and rotate to get pieces to fit, make sure you do some type of changing to them so that it looks right. Continuing to put more Celio onto the splice. Just making some slight edits there. It's important that you do some slight edits every now and again so you can get things to fit right. You can't just straight up put things together all the time, so if you want to get it to flow right, you might want to actually try practicing with editing and scratching. Making it blend more, the tail doesn't quite look the right way going into the top part of the tail there, so I widened it up. Okay, so now here we're going to actually start the recoloring stage. The splice looks a little mixed up, so basically we're going to make it all one of the same color. So we're going to figure that out. We got to choose on what art we're going to do. This is probably where I'm going to start explaining the whole palette thing and how to recolor. We're going to quick fast forward through the making of the palette since that took a while. As you can see, I'm grabbing all the different colors that make up Togetic, making what is known as a palette. It's basically that those boxes down there are the different colors that make up Togetic. I'm talking in circles. Continuing to do that, that's why we're fast forwarding over this, because it's not that thrilling. So we have one palette, now we're going to grab Celio's colors. As you can see, we're getting his whisker colors. We have white, followed by a gray, followed by a darker gray, by an even darker gray. Now we're grabbing the blues. Grabbing the tans. Now we have both of their full palettes. I'm going to go back into the normal video now, just because there's actually a lot of teaching in there.
What I'm going to teach you will definitely require what is down here as our secondary and firstary colors. Get your color choosing tool. Now we want to turn all this into this blue. First thing you do is you right click. I will double remind you, right click this blue, making the secondary color the blue. Then the firstary, the color that we want to change, we will left click and make the firstary color. Now down here we have what we want. We want the secondary to become the first. Or I probably worded that backwards, but I hope you get my point. We clicked the eraser tool now. With the eraser tool, we go over to the sprite and we right click, I repeat, right click on it. We right click and drag all over the sprite. Everywhere where that color is that we want to change. As you can see, like magic, it becomes different.
Okay, and now there's a very important few things I'm going to talk about. When recoloring with white, sometimes you just want to use the fill tool and manually pick all the white and change their colors. Sometimes you don't. Depends what you want to do. Another very important step I have to mention about recoloring: please recolor your borders. I don't know why, but it's an incredible pet peeve when you don't recolor your borders. I just can't stand it. I can notice it from like a mile away for whatever reason. I'm like, that guy didn't recolor his borders. So now this orange thing is surrounded by pink, or green, or something horrible. Now comes the all-big important pet peeve known as saving as png, or saving as .png. Most spriters hate this. I know I do. People will save their sprites as something that isn't a png or isn't a GIF, and they'll save it as something weird like JPEG or bitmap, or they'll upload it wrong and it will save as a JPEG or something, and it will completely distort and ruin a sprite. Please avoid this too. This is really bad. Save as .png. That's all for this tutorial then.